Hey everyone, in this video I'm going to take you through the 3 different types of producers that you'll find on a feature film. Now by understanding what these different roles are, you're going to be able to better assess which type of producer you need to partner with in your particular project. And you're also going to ensure that you don't bring on a producer who actually doesn't bring value to the project in the way that you had expected. And so hopefully that's going to help you avoid bringing on the wrong partner to a project at the outset. So let's take you through what those 3 are, and then at the end I'm going to focus on if you're just starting out, which type of producer should you focus on, and if you're a bit further ahead, who should you prioritize bringing on there. So number 1, first type of producer is the finance producer. So as the name implies, this person is really adept at raising finance, bringing finance into the project, and helping the film actually get up off the ground. And so they're often very good with numbers, very good with spreadsheets. They have extensive contacts, right? So they have a really good network of sales agents, distributors, film finance companies, private investors, bond companies, lenders, right? They've really got that network that they've been developing over a number of years. And they also understand the film finance landscape. So they understand how tax incentives work, how to leverage them, where the best ones are, what sort of pitfalls to look out for if you are getting a tax incentive. And finally, they're also really good at just strategic planning. So they're able to assess what is the right budget level for this particular film? What are the different sources of finance going to be? What is a likely MG that we're going to be able to get from a sales agent, a DG, from a distributor? They're able to assess those things and really look at the project and the puzzle that is film finance and know how to optimize for getting the film up. So you can kind of overlook this role a little bit, especially when you're starting out, because you're so focused on the kind of creative and the actual hands-on producing. But without a producer who knows this finance side and who can execute it, a project will just never get up. So this is a really critical role, and especially when you're starting out. The second role, or the second type of producer, is the creative producer. And again, as the name implies, they really focus on the creative. So they're the heart and soul behind the film's narrative. And really the 3 areas that they contribute the most are going to be script development, right? So they're in there with the director, with the writer, developing the script, ensuring that it's resonating in terms of what it's meant to be doing thematically. It has a clearly defined audience, and it's speaking to that audience. If it's a genre, it's fulfilling those genre tropes. So they're really in there developing the script with the filmmaker. When it comes to making the film, they really are there to support the filmmaker's vision and ensure that the director's vision is actually being realized on screen. So it's a really critical role there in terms of translating what's in the director's head to actually what is going to come out in terms of the film. And then the final one is talent attachment, right? So they have a really good understanding of who are the right cast members for the particular roles, who are up and coming actors, who might be someone that is overlooked. So they've really got their finger on the pulse when it comes to casting, and they're able to contribute really meaningfully in that way. Now, if you neglect this role, or you neglect the contributions that this type of filmmaker can make, you can end up with a bit of a shallow film, right? A film that doesn't really realize its full potential as a creative piece of work. So the third one is the hands-on producer. And I think of this role as the COO, Chief Operating Officer, right? They are the ones that are responsible for bringing the film in on budget and on schedule. They will often have risen up through as a line producer, production coordinator or production manager, to line producer, to then an actual producer. So they really intimately understand the physical production of the film. They're really good with logistics. They're really good with being able to organize the shoot from start to finish. They're very good at budget management, right? And being able to make sure cost reports are getting completed, make sure that the producers have a really good understanding of how much is being spent every week, whether they're over or under, how contingency is being spent. And really importantly, they're good at crisis management. So they're good at putting out fires, and they're really the go-to when something like that happens on set, because they have experience doing it, but also people just trust them, right? They're really steadfast, really solid in terms of how they carry themselves. And so while they do operate behind the scenes a little bit, they really are crucial to a film actually being produced and being delivered on time, on schedule, without too many mishaps. So those are the three, right? You've got your finance producer, your creative producer, and your hands-on producer. Now, in my view, the best producers are multifaceted, right? They actually are really skilled in all three of these areas. So not only can they raise finance and they take the lead on raising finance, but they also contribute when it comes to creative discussions. So when it comes to the script development, when it comes to casting, when it comes to editing, right? They're in there in the room and they're providing really valuable feedback. And then they also understand production. So they've either worked, have also come up through the ranks and have like on-set hands-on experience. And that way they're not just kind of coming in as a producer who's never actually produced anything, right? Has never really been in the trenches. So the best, in my view, is someone that really covers all three of those bases. Now, that's not always easy to find. So if you're just starting out, my view is that you want to find a finance producer, because like a creative producer, a hands-on producer, they're going to be dime a dozen, right? There's lots of those types of producers out there, particularly when you're starting out, right? Because everyone's making short films, so everyone knows how to like actually make the thing. Everyone is obviously creative, that's why they got into it. But being able to raise finance, it's like a skill that no one has developed up to that point. And so finding that person to bring into your team, I think it's, especially when you're starting, is really important. When you get past that kind of, maybe first, second feature film, then what you can do is potentially look at finding producers who specialize a little bit more, right? So rather than just having one producer, you could look at building a team of producers. And this is why often you see in films, there's like a pretty big credit list of producers. And it's because each of them is kind of focusing on their strengths and playing to their strengths. And so as you progress, you can absolutely look at teaming with a team of producers. Also, if you're working with more established producers, they're likely going to have teams anyway, right? Or they're likely going to have people that they tend to work with. And they might even like themselves to kind of split up the work a little bit so that they don't have the burden of all the work and all the responsibility on their shoulders. For me personally, I really want to focus on actually being multifaceted, being able to contribute meaningfully in all three of those aspects. I've done the hands-on producing, I've made shorts, I've made features, I've made micro-budget features. I now have experience raising finance, I've done that a number of times, and I'd like to think that I can contribute creatively, but you'd have to ask the filmmakers who I work with whether that's the case. So for me, it's really, I do enjoy being able to have those three. So if you're a director, think about which type of producer you really need for your project. Do you need someone that can cover all bases, or can you go out and find individuals who are really specialized? If you are a producer, think about whether you do want to specialize. If you hate financing, if you hate raising finance, like maybe just don't do it, right? Focus on being a really good creative producer or a really good kind of hands-on physical producer. If you do want to specialize, obviously like focus on one of those and then like go all in on it. And if you don't, then it is really important that you do generate not just knowledge, but skills and expertise in all of those areas. All right, so that's it for the video. Hope you enjoyed it. If you do want to work with someone who is a finance producer or kind of can cover those three aspects, if you want some help getting your film financed, then absolutely click the link in the description below. That is a service that I offer, so I'd love to hear from you. All right, that's it for this one. I'll see you on the next one.